Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing well today. This is video number 2 of 2. I gave you video number 1 earlier on today, a little later than usual, but I will reference it right here if you haven't seen it already. Make sure to go and check that out and pause it here if you haven't done so. Or like I always say, if you're weird and lopsided, you want to do it the other way around, whatever floats your boat. Now, I've left this as late as possible, but look, I've come to terms with it now. I've made peace with the issue. As soon as I upload this, Fabrizio Ornstein is going to come out with a madness. We'll see. Put your bets on down below in the comments. Who's it going to be? Anyway, we'll see what happens if anything is going to break as of tonight. I don't know. Any one of them going to post something out at midnight or something crazy? We'll see. But let's get cracking because there has been developments. There has been news throughout the day, even after video number 1. And that was a late upload. But we've got tons to cover. So let's get right into it. And we're going to start off with a Chelsea player. But before we do, I haven't mentioned, because if you haven't already, you want to go and check out video number 1, you want to be notified that I've uploaded, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Don't forget those 2 things, very important. As well as that, keep up to date on all things Younes Talks Football. Links to my social media are in the description and on screen for you right now. Instagram at Younes Talks Football, Twitter at YTalksFootball, and TikTok at Younes Talks Football. Enjoy. Let's get cracking. There's a Chelsea player, which I can't believe I'm saying this, but it seems like there's something that's gone wrong. And I didn't expect this time frame. I hope it's not true. But Nizar Kinsella's come out with an update in regards to Nkunku. So, here it is. Breaking. Chelsea are hopeful Christopher Nkunku will only face weeks rather than months on the sideline after a knee injury. Do we have to? Do we have to? Why? Now, I know many people are going to turn to the pitch, right? I know that for a fact. Many people are going to be like, oh no, the pitch was ridiculous. The pitch was, and it was. I completely agree. The game should not have taken place on that surface in Chicago. Whoever's in charge of facilitating that event, knowing that we had, right, a preseason game scheduled there for quite some time. Now, actually, I want to take that back. Either they knew that we were going to be playing there, or they knew that Ed Sheeran was having a concert there. If they knew Ed Sheeran was going to have a concert, why in the blue hell did they allow Chelsea and Borussia Dortmund to just go ahead and have a friendly there then? Why allow that event to go on there? Why not refer them to somewhere else? We've got a concert, the pitch isn't going to be ready, I'm sorry. Why not just say that? Nah, because money. Yeah, you want the tickets, you want the match day tickets, you want the revenue kicking off in the shop in the Chicago. What stadium was that, by the way? I know, was it American football? But I don't know, the shop in the stadium, selling all sorts of Chelsea and Borussia Dortmund merchandise. Man, this is what happens. Or did they know that we had Chelsea Borussia Dortmund scheduled there and they allowed an Ed Sheeran concert to take place days before? Come on. Whatever way it is, it's wrong. Whatever way it is, it's a shambles. So some people are going to talk about the pitch, understandably. But when you go back to look at the challenge that done this to his knee, it wasn't the pitch, right? I'll be honest. We've got PTSD in regards to Loftus-Cheek and that whole Achilles injury that he had. The Achilles. He had an ACL, didn't he? But when he done that, there was a whole debate of, oh my God, the pitch. Why did we play this game? Oh my God. But this Nkunku injury was the challenge in the penalty box, if you remember, where he ended up, I think when the tackle came in, the ball ended up going square, and I forgot to who. I don't know if it was Chukwuemeka. But Nkunku went down, and realistically, it should have been a penalty, right? But we ended up taking a shot and playing the advantage. But I think that was the challenge that done his knee a little bit. So, probably less on the pitch, more on the action. But Nkunku could be out for some time. Now, I look at this and I think, well, he's not playing against Liverpool then, is he? Which is gutting, because Nkunku Jackson is just... Did you guys see the Hilton video posted by Chelsea earlier on today? Go on the Chelsea Twitter page, you'll see it there. I can't show it because it's copyrighted. But go on there and you'll see the bond that they already have. It's just, oh man. And on the pitch, they've got that connection. And I want to see Nkunku Jackson against Liverpool as well, man. Oh, come on. No. They have to play. He has to play, man. I don't care. He's got one leg. He's got to play. I really hope this is fake news. If there's one time I'm going to quote Donald Trump, I hope it's now. This is fake news. Nizar Kinsella, please tell me you're lying. Please, for once, I want you to tell me you've made this up. Ah, man, look, Nkunku, I hope he's not out for long. I hope this is a false diagnosis, and I hope that he's okay. I really, really hope. So we'll wait and see for the confirmation to come in the next couple of days, I'm guessing. But yeah, if it's weeks, I mean, we got 9 days till we play Liverpool, man. It's not enough. It's not enough. Maybe he'll make the second game. We'll see. We'll see what happens. That's the latest on Nkunku. Let me know your thoughts down below. Now, talking about players that are coming to Chelsea, well, we've got one on the way, and he signed a new deal. Well, he signed a deal. It is a new deal because he's a new player. But how long? Well, Robert Sanchez. Here it is. Robert Sanchez has signed a 7-year deal with Chelsea. I'm getting Kepa PTSD here. Actually, I'm not. Why? Because we didn't pay 70 million. We paid 25. So, you know what? It's all right. And the fact that we've actually signed everybody to 8, 9, 10, 20-year contracts, I think it's only fair that we give them a 7-year deal. So, yeah, 7 years. If someone wants to come in and buy him, how much are they going to have to pay now? Yeah, anyway, 7-year deal with Chelsea. Robert Sanchez. Let me know your thoughts down below. Personally, as a goalkeeper, I'm not really fussed. He's a goalkeeper. It is what it is. So if he was an outfield player and someone that's just coming in as a backup and we've signed him to 7 years, I'm thinking, oh my God, we've basically just pinned this guy down to the squad. But anyway, as a goalkeeper, Robert Sanchez, I've got no problem on that. I mean, look at how Kepa turned out. We managed to survive through that, so we can survive through this, that's for sure. Now, Chelsea are making all sorts of signings. Yeah, all sorts of signings. We're signing tons of players. There's only one problem, though. As long as a few are coming to Chelsea, the rest are heading off to Strasbourg. And this is one of them. And it's another one. We're going to quote DJ Khaled. Another one. Here it is. David Washington to Chelsea. Deal now imminent after official bid submitted in the last hours for the 2005-born Brazilian striker. David agreed personal terms and wants CFC move. Strasbourg loan to follow. 20 million euros package bid submitted as per Globo. Santos set to accept. I can't believe I just said pounds. Euro pounds. Yeah, we've made up a new currency. Brexit's off the table now. We're looking to rejoin the EU, so we've made Euro pounds. Nah, look, one thing I've got to say from this. Strasbourg, you better win the French league. I don't care what happens. You better win Liga. I'm not even looking for you guys to make a Champions League spot. No, we have given you more resources than we've gotten for ourselves. You know, we've basically done all your shopping for you, given it to you, and left ourselves with no bread. We've given you all sorts, pasta, tomato sauce. We've given you all the sauces: salt, pepper, bread, cheese, juice, water. Do you want to add anything fancy? We've given them caviar. We've prime Scottish salmon. We've done all sorts, and we've left ourselves with no bread. We've got nothing. Actually, no, that's tell a lie. We did sign a couple of players, good players as well. All right, we've left ourselves with a couple of, I don't know, jam sandwiches. But look, at the end of the day, Strasbourg are absolutely milking it from us at the moment, and we're facilitating that. We're giving that to them. You better win Liga. I don't care about PSG. No. You're better equipped than PSG now. They've lost Mbappe, and they've lost Messi, and they're losing Neymar, and they're losing everyone. You are better equipped than PSG. You have no excuse. Go and win Liga. Now, David Washington, I'll be honest, I know absolutely nothing about the guy. I know nothing about this guy. But, young, 18, and it's another one for Strasbourg. Apparently, look, he's come from Santos. I don't need to say anything more. He's come from Santos. He's Brazilian. He's a striker. Great. He's sick. He's a good player. It's done. That's all we need to know. He's a good player. So, look, I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do when he does decide to join. And then, look, he joins Chelsea, goes on loan to Strasbourg. We'll see when he's going to play, because it's not going to be at Chelsea. It's going to be straight at Strasbourg probably. So once he gets kit up and running at Strasbourg, then boom, we see how he's going to play. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he's about. So let me know your thoughts. If you actually know about David Washington, very Brazilian name, by the way. Just saying. You think he's got some American genes in there or something. Maybe he's, I don't know, maybe his great granddad's Canadian. But let me know if you know of the player, if you've seen Santos play regularly, if you know about David Washington, then Washington, have I said his name right? It is Washington, yeah, Washington. I almost said Wallington, so I'm glad I didn't. But let me know down below if you are aware, and if he is good. If he's not good, let me know down below. Much appreciated. Now, Lewis Hall, I did speak about him in video number 1, so again, if you haven't seen that, you better go and watch it because there's valuable information there. Lewis Hall, here's the latest. Lewis Hall closing in on loan move to Crystal Palace for next season. Chelsea talent had multiple suitors, but Palace were deemed best for his development by Chelsea. He is also set to sign new long-term deal at Stamford Bridge. You know what's funny? This is actually a true story. Yesterday, I was driving not far from Palace. I went literally past the stadium, and I saw the stand. There's one stand that you can see right outside the gates, and you can see like the stand. It's right there. So I'm driving, I'm looking, I'm going, man, imagine if I supported Palace. Like, what would that be like? And without even knowing that Lewis Hall might end up there. So now I'm going to have to pay attention to Crystal Palace just to watch Lewis Hall. Amazing how things happen in life, isn't it? I just thought I'd share that because Lewis Hall, not just only at left back, but even in midfield. I think there's going to be a case where Crystal Palace are going to try and use him in midfield because that's his natural position. I am going to be watching Crystal Palace for sure, just to keep eyes on Lewis Hall and see how he's getting on in that role. I'm so curious to see what he's going to be like as a midfielder week in, week out. So, yeah, Crystal Palace, I mean, who knows? Maybe if I can get a ticket from time to time, I might actually go and see him. You never know. So that's look, Lewis Hall heading over to Crystal Palace. It seems like that's going to be imminent. Let's wait and see when that's going to be announced. Now, talking about deals, I mentioned in video number 1 about possible investors looking at Chelsea, where it seems like Chelsea are in talks with a possible investor. And here's who they are and what they might be trying to do. Let's get into it. Chelsea FC are in talks with Ares Management over raising funding. Ares currently invest in Inter Miami and Atletico Madrid. Goes on to say, this is from the Financial Times now, not Bloomberg. Financial Times reference in the opening paragraph of this article that Chelsea have held talks about raising funds as the club plot a stadium upgrade. Financial Times also saying it's between building at Stamford Bridge or going to Earls Court. That's the article about Ares talks over raising funds for bigger stadium. So there it is. That's the indicator. We're not looking for funds just to invest in Chelsea. We've got the funds. We've got enough, I think. But we are looking to get investors to fund the stadium and the rebuild. And, well, the rebuild or redevelopment or new build. What one? Now, I want to talk about Stamford Bridge, Earls Court very quickly because those who are Londoners and are able to understand the situation and the facilities, who've gone to Stamford Bridge, who've gone to Earls Court, who know about the area, right? You're going to relate with what I'm about to say completely. Earls Court would be fantastic in terms of the facility, in terms of the space, in terms of what we can do. It would be, realistically, it would be perfect, right? Stamford Bridge, with being able to knock down the residential area that's located right next to the bridge. So the stadium, the grounds of the stadium, the area, right next to it, you have is it Oswald Mansions? Or I spoke about it a few days ago. But those residential area needs to be knocked down. Right? It's subject to the permission of those residents at the moment as to whether that's going to go ahead or not. If it doesn't, if they say no, it's a no. If they say yes, then great. We can rebuild at Stamford Bridge because that extra space is going to amount to exactly what we need in order to rebuild completely. Now, that would be done stand by stand probably, unless if they just crush the whole thing, we have to move away for a few years. But where? That's one issue. With Earls Court, it would mean that we can just stay at the bridge until it's done. So we don't have to go anywhere. Now, with Earls Court, though, there's a problem. Because the Chelsea Supporters Trust, the CST, are the ones that are deeming this impossible. And they're deeming it like we can't go to Earls Court. There's a problem there, we can't go to Earls Court. Why? Because the pitch at Stamford Bridge is owned by the fans. It's owned by the Chelsea pitch owners. Now, the Chelsea pitch owners, it would mean that we would have to take that pitch. I'm guessing, right? This one is a guess. I'm guessing we would have to take that pitch and then move it over to Earls Court, right? Or the new pitch at Earls Court, everything basically transitions to the pitch at Earls Court. But people didn't sign up to own a piece of the pitch at Earls Court. They signed up to own a piece of the pitch at Stamford Bridge. That's the difference. And no matter what you try and do, you can't change that. So there's a fundamental issue here on both ends of the spectrum. So what are we going to do? This is the problem. Now, in order to raise funds, yes, investors can come in. as I said, the easiest move would be to Earls Court in terms of just building a stadium. Of course, it's Earls Court, that would be the easier one. The one that we can facilitate, or most likely facilitate, is going to be rebuilding Stamford Bridge. But again, it depends on these residents. If we can get these residents to be convinced that it's okay for them to move elsewhere, right, then we can get this done. But up until that happens, nothing's going to move. So I don't know. It's going to be tight. It's going to be tight and it's going to be tough. We'll see what happens. Let me know your thoughts down below. But yeah, Earls Court as well, by the way. Earls Court is literally, 15-minute walk from Stamford Bridge? It's not far. It's not far. It's 2 stops on the tube line, isn't it? 3 stops. Earls Court, West Brompton, Fulham Broadway? Was it 2 stops? Am I missing a stop? I feel like I'm missing a stop. But anyway, let me know in the comments. I've not been to the bridge in a little while. So, yeah, it's not far at all, basically. It's not far at all. You can get to Earls Court to Stamford Bridge very, very quickly. So, it's not a big move. And it would be nice. It would be all that space. There's also the people that are redeveloping Earls Court or looking to redevelop Earls Court that have plans in place in order to change Earls Court and what was there to this brand new sort of centre for all sorts of shops and entertainment and all of that. So those plans are in place. It's about having to get them to shelve those as well. It's complicated. So we'll see what happens. Let me know what you would prefer down in the comments. Now, we move away from Chelsea. And we start entertaining what the hell is going on elsewhere because there's been news. So let's get right into it. Here's Harry Kane. Florian Plettenberg saying, I can't confirm a deadline from Bayern to Spurs until midnight. As reported and revealed today, there's a new offer of more than 100 million euros on the table with add-ons. There's no real deadline, but Bayern expect an answer from Levy this weekend. Relation between the bosses is very good and respectful. Dreesen and Nepe and Levi in direct contact. So, turns out that news about a whole midnight deadline was not true. There you are. You see, it's crazy when things just get debunked along the way. You find out what's true and what's not. But they have put the pressure on. Now, that could have been PR in order to get Tottenham to react. But at the same time, Bayern Munich maybe making themselves look like they are hospitable. Maybe they are being respectful. No worries, we'll give you the weekend. No, that's our real deadline. So let's see. I do think Kane could possibly go. And there is one indicator to show that Tottenham might be saying yes this time. What is it? Here it is. Kane gone. Quoting Di Marzio's news of Spurs are in contact with FC Porto for striker Mehdi Taremi. Tottenham are ready to offer 24 million euros while Porto are asking for 30 million euros. That's not a big gap in valuation. Taremi, who played for Iran at the World Cup. Taremi, who scored for Porto against Chelsea the year we won it, didn't they? If you remember, was it the year we won it? It was. Well, yeah. Do you remember that goal? The overhead kick straight into the top corner? That was him. Don't say it too loud. Spurs might get a little bit too carried away. But in terms of a striker, yeah, if they're getting Mehdi Taremi, is that the Kane replacement? It could be. It could be. At least on a short-term basis even. It could be. So let's see. Because if they do get Taremi and Kane are still there, then where does that leave Richarlison? So I think that they might be starting to look at alternatives and replacements. And then once they do facilitate that, they will allow Kane to go. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a very entertaining saga. But I do think now we are getting to the point where Harry Kane is about to leave Tottenham Hotspur. And I cannot wait for that day to come. Because at that point, I'm going to be like, Tottenham, you ain't got anyone else. You're in the mud. Tottenham are in the mud at that point. That's me with my Chelsea tinted glasses on, of course. I take them off and, of course, I have to respect all the clubs. I talk about all the clubs and whatnot, absolutely. But Chelsea glasses on, Spurs, you're in the mud. Anyway, I'm going to have to start talking to Fuad and everyone else at Spurs expressions and all sorts, just going, you're in the mud. Let's move to West Ham. I spoke about West Ham earlier on. We mentioned that David Moyes is very unhappy. His position is in serious trouble because he's flipping out left, right and centre because there's been no signings. Well, it seems like in the time that we last mentioned that up until now, so it's been a few hours, West Ham listened and West Ham are delivering. Here we go. Exclusive. West Ham have now reached an agreement on personal terms with Ajax midfielder Edson Alvarez. Up to West Ham to discuss the deal with Ajax as negotiations will follow over the weekend. Deal depends on clubs. Edson said yes. How have they pulled this off? Fair play. If Edson Alvarez ends up at West Ham, right, that's a great deal for West Ham. I know Alvarez was linked at Chelsea at one point and whatnot. We had doubts, yes, no, not so sure. Nah. For West Ham, absolutely. That's the level. That's, Edson Alvarez will walk into that West Ham midfield, and I think he will do pretty well at West Ham. For West Ham, that's a great signing. So I think, you know what? In terms of David Moyes and what he's looking for and what he needs, yeah, I think he'd be content with this. I think he would. It doesn't take West Ham to blockbuster levels, of course not, but it's a good signing. And if they can get other players to support, then they might be levelling up. And at that point, you look at West Ham maybe getting top half of the table, maybe fighting for a Europa League spot. Who knows? That should be the ambition. With Edson Alvarez, it becomes a little likelier. So, yeah, I think that's a good deal if it were to happen for West Ham. Let's see. Let me know your thoughts. Edson Alvarez, possibly to West Ham. Talks between club and player, but not the clubs. The clubs need to agree. So that's where it is at the moment. Fabrizio's already confirmed that. Now, another player that's up in the air, and we don't quite know what's going on, is this guy. Sofyan Amrabat not called up for next Fiorentina game. Manchester United expected to open formal talks for Amrabat soon as Fred and Donny van de Beek are close to leaving the club. Amrabat wants Manchester United. This has never changed. This came earlier this afternoon. But since then, we've had Florian Plettenberg come in with something this evening, which is... Sofyan Amrabat, understand there's no final agreement with Man United. Talks with Ten Hag have taken place. He's admiring the player. It's ongoing. But... Amrabat's management also monitoring Bayern's situation as they know that Tuchel is looking for a holding six. Amrabat is on the list of Bayern. Oh, this just got interesting. And it's true, we know Tuchel's already made it public. He's looking for a six. He's looking for that DM. Someone please give Tuchel a DM. Can I just say that, by the way? Tuchel's been asking for a defensive midfielder since the year 2020. Like, he's not had one in all that time. At Chelsea, he won the Champions League without one. Yeah, Jorginho's not a DM, Kante's not a DM, Kovacic is not a DM. We've already established this debate. We're not having that debate ever again. Now, after that, no DM. Goes to Bayern Munich, no DM. Kimmich is obviously there, but he's leaving. We know he's leaving. Anyway, give the guy a DM, please. Let him sign his own DM. Someone allow Tuchel to sign his own DM. Now, Amrabat, Bayern Munich coming into the situation, this could be interesting now. If there's a club that can rival Man United and possibly even poach from Manchester United, it would be Bayern Munich. And I think even Amrabat could look at this and go, I'm tempted. Bayern Munich are that club. They are one of those teams that you just look at and go, nah, I might have to consider this one. So, yeah, we'll see what Bayern Munich are trying to build. They get Harry Kane in. They get themselves a DM, Tuchel. I think that could work some sort of magic. I really do. Manchester United, I feel like, are not... It doesn't look like they are moving fast enough for this player. It doesn't look like they're desperate for this player. They're just taking things with motion without thinking there's a threat from somewhere. Bayern Munich have now come in, it seems. So let me know down below. Where do you think Amrabat will end up? I think he'll be I think he'd be good for both teams. Whether it's Bayern Munich or Manchester United, I think he fits in. I think he fits better at Bayern Munich in terms of the tempo of the game. I think the Premier League is obviously harder. It takes much more work to adapt to. It takes much more work physically, mentally, for you to get yourself leveled up to be able to handle the league and do it efficiently in that position as well. You've got to be a beast. He is a beast from within, but physically, his mentality, where he is, where his level's at, he obviously needs to improve. At Bayern Munich, I think he gets a little bit more leeway and finds his space a little bit more easy. So we'll see where he ends up. Let me know down below what you think is going to happen. Now, one last thing before we go is to explain the rule changes that are being implemented, I think, now into the Championship as we saw tonight, and I think into the Premier League, although I don't think that's been confirmed yet. Here it is. World Cup style injury time is present in the English Championship after rule changes to avoid time wasting. The game between Sheffield Wednesday and Southampton had 6 minutes added on in the first half plus 9 minutes in the second half. I'm all for this. I am absolutely all for this. It's already been calculated that the time that's wasted in an average game is almost half an hour. in a normal game of football. So we're looking at a game of 90 minutes where in fact we're playing 60 minutes in terms of time on the ball as the game is going on. If we were to do it the American way and have timeouts, the game would go on for about 2.5 hours. No, actually, I'm telling a lie. 2 hours, 15 minutes probably, because including the halftime break, you have to count that as the 15 minutes. The whole thing would probably take 2 hours, 15 minutes rather than just the hour 45. So The World Cup was an example of that. You remember the crazy amounts of injury time because the clock was being stopped every time the ball went out of play. So, as we saw tonight, Southampton beating Sheffield Wednesday 2-1 and Southampton claiming a win. Congrats to Southampton. They were 1-0 down, if I'm not mistaken. They clawed it back, got to 2-1. Shea Adams scoring at the Wednesday. That's hilarious. And the Southampton manager giving it all the clop. He went up to the fans and was like, I'm like, hang on, mate. It's day one. And you're not in the Premier League, mate. You're in the Championship. You ain't playing 38 games. You're playing 46. So relax, please. Anyway, that was Southampton Sheffield Wednesday, but the rule was implemented. So, are we going to see that in the Premier League? I would absolutely say yes. I think it's fair. I think it's absolutely fair. Let me know down below if you think it should be implemented. If it is implemented, I actually need to check if it actually has been implemented. But I welcome this. The World Cup was beautiful to see. It worked. I think it would work in league football too. So let me know your thoughts down below on this whole thing. And there we are. Much appreciated. That's done for video number 2. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. And don't forget, as I always say, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded. Check out all the socials, links in the description, as I've notified you guys on screen as well for you guys right now. Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And I will be here for you guys tomorrow. And a double upload might happen. You might get one early on in the morning. You will definitely get one in the evening, 100%. So I'll probably give you guys a double upload. There is All You Can Eat Chelsea that's taking place tomorrow as well. So this is why it's going to be tight to fit everything in. But I will try. So make sure you guys are there for that. And I will see all of you tomorrow. Much appreciated, people. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow. Take care and peace.